very exclusive, expensive stores. We also have a shopping center full of those like very expensive stores, known as the Mall of San Juan. So that's where I'm not going to go shopping. Now everybody knows this area, or everybody call this area the new section of San Juan. But the first house built over here in this area was this building here to the right hand side. It was a house, believe it or not. Okay? And this little shack over here belongs to the Vanderbilt family. So every time they want to spend a couple of days at the Caribbean, they use this little shack over there, that little hut over there, to spend a couple of days here in Puerto Rico. But what happened? They only used it one time in 1923.
Wow.
It was closed for 80 years, and now they're asking $1,500 a night. Here towards the left hand side, we have the kayak tours and the paddleboard tours inside of the Lagoon of San Juan. Look how nice it is. And then here to the right, we have the Atlantic Ocean that today, to be honest, it looks pretty nice, okay? My friends, all these buildings over here were destroyed when the hurricane hit the island, okay? Most of them, they were rebuilt and renovated because waves over here went up to 25 feet. Sustained winds were 185 miles, and it was sustained winds like that for over 12 hours. In 12 hours, we received 15 inches of rain. So everything was flooded, everything was destroyed. The last death count, counting the aftermath of the hurricane and everything, the last death count was over 5,000 Puerto Ricans. And I was 8 months without power. I was 4 months without running water, 6 months without cell phones, and 2 years unemployed. Okay? I started working in November 2019, and then in March 2020, the COVID started. So basically, I was another 2 years unemployed. So it was real bad. It was really, really bad. Now, if we look over here to the right-hand side, you're going to be able to see my favorite beach area here in San Juan. Today, to be honest, has a lot of waves. Usually, there's no waves over here. Okay? Look how beautiful it is. Okay? When there's low tide and there's no waves, it looks like a swimming pool. It looks beautiful. But if we look, there's a man-made reef that protects the shore. Okay? And those rocks were put there by the Spaniards back in the year 1747, when they finished all the constructions around the old San Juan. Okay? The little fort that we have here to the right-hand side, it's known as the San Jeronimo Fort. And the San Jeronimo Fort, or the San Jeronimo Castle, it's the oldest and the smallest fort in the island of San Juan. Okay? It took 25 years to build that little fort. And why it took so long? Because we're talking about the 15, 16, and 1700s. There were no machineries or heavy equipment. Everything was built by the hands of the Indians, and then later by Africans that they were introduced to the island as slaves. Okay? If you notice, there's some openings on the forts, okay? And that's where the canyons used to go. Limited amount of canyons over there, 10 little canyons over there. With those little canyons, they cannot protect the island of San Juan. So, when they finished the constructions of the forts, they decided to shut down this entrance by putting those rocks over there. Around the wall of San Juan, they had 468 canyons. So that's how they protect the island for over 400 years, and they held the island during 60 wars. Okay, they sustained over 60 wars over here in the island. Okay, 468 canyons, and the wall of San Juan was 6 miles long, 100 feet high, 18 feet thick, and there were, like I was saying, 468 canyons surrounded the island of San Juan. So it was well protected, and they protect the island until July 1898. Okay. Now, We're going to turn over here to the right hand side, and we're going to take the north side of the old San Juan. This time we're going to be driving through the front side of the Capitol building, the same building that we saw in our first stop. But we're going to drive through the north side, and I forgot to tell you something. That Capitol building in Puerto Rico, it's the only Capitol building in the whole world that has a beachfront. It's right on the ocean, okay? If we look over here to the right hand side, you're going to be able to see remainings of the wall of San Juan right next to the sidewalk, okay? And it goes all the way connecting the 6 different forts and protecting the Bay of San Juan and the island of the old San Juan, okay? This community that we were talking about, it's one of the last condominiums that they're going to build inside of the old San Juan. But you need $3 million to live in the first floor over here to the right hand side, okay? They have doctors, they have lawyers, they have like restaurants, and they have clothing stores and everything over there. So basically it has a shopping center inside. Right across the street over here to the left hand side, we have the Supreme Court of the island of Puerto Rico. Every single town of the island of Puerto Rico has their own courthouses. But this one is the Supreme Court of Puerto Rico. Over here to the right hand side, we have the entrance through the Caribe Hilton Hotel, which is the second oldest hotel in the island of Puerto Rico. And this building over here to the right, the Normandy Hotel, it's the oldest hotel in the island. It was inaugurated in November 1942, and it's the only building in the island of Puerto Rico that has a ship shape. It looks like a cruise ship because it was inspired in a cruise ship with the same name, an Italian cruise ship, the Normandy, okay? And it was inaugurated, like I was saying, in November 1942. It's under renovations right now, and the guys who are renovating that place are also taking care of this park here to the right hand side. You can see that there's a track and field area. We have soccer field, we have an American football field, we have a baseball park, basketball court, volleyball court, tennis court, we have boxing stadium, we have a swimming pool and a public beach. All together in the same park. This park was inaugurated in 1980 to celebrate the Pan American Games that were hosted for the first time in the island of Puerto Rico. We as U.S. citizens, we can represent the United States, or we can represent the island of Puerto Rico in every sport competition. That includes Olympics, Pan American Games, Central American Games, Caribbean Games, everywhere, okay, including beauty pageants. Venezuela has 16 million residents, and they have 9 Miss Universes. Really nice, right? Yeah. But Puerto Rico has only 3.1 million residents, and we have 7 Miss Universes. Wow. So that's even better. I like to say that we're in the first place, right? Now we're gonna go uphill again. Like I was saying, everything above the sea level here in San Juan and all around the island of Puerto Rico. And I'm pretty sure that you're tired of looking at the ocean, right? Yeah, right. But here to the right hand side, there's something very special about this area. I don't know if you ever heard about the Puerto Rican Trench. The Puerto Rican Trench, it's the deepest spot in the Atlantic Ocean, and it's the second deepest spot in the world. Right over here, about a mile and a half from the shore, and it's about 28,000 feet deep. Okay? Only the Marianas Trench is deeper, and it means that the Mount Everest fit in that hole here in Puerto Rico, and there's another 3,000 feet to go. Okay? So just imagine the amount of chips and gold and stuff that is down there. Okay? Remember, the Spaniards, they sustained over 60 wars over here. Okay? Against Dutch, England, French, and pirates. Everybody wants to take over the island of Puerto Rico because it was the rich port in the Caribbean for the Spanish government. So rich port means Puerto Rico. That's where the name came from, right? Here towards the left-hand side, we have the National Guard premises. It's the only military service from the island of Puerto Rico, and this area right here was inaugurated in 1918. Okay. Now if we have the chance in front of us, we're going to be looking at the San Cristobal Castle. The San Cristobal Castle is the largest ever built. You're not going to see this something like the San Cristobal Castle anywhere in the world. It took 175 years to build. All by hand. There were no machineries back in the 1500s or 1600s or 1700s, and there were no heavy equipment. So everything was built by the hands of the Indians. To the left, we have the Capitol building, the ocean to the right-hand side, and if you keep looking to the right, you're going to be able to see, nice, very nice. That's how you drive.
Yeah.
Here to the right, you have St. John the Baptist doing something to the politicians.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
Only in Puerto Rico. Now, here to the right says, Feliz Dia de Reyes. Happy Three Kings Day. That's the Epiphany. That's even bigger than Christmas in the island of Puerto Rico. Okay, that's in January 6th. It's an Spanish tradition, but over here we take it very seriously. Okay, I could say that we're 75% Catholic over here in the island of Puerto Rico. Okay, we have that heritage from Spain. Now, like I was telling you, amigos, here to the right, the San Cristobal Castle, amigos. If you're looking to go inside of one of the castles, this one is my first option. Okay, it's 10 times bigger than the San Felipe de Morro in the top part of the hill. Okay. Now we're going to take the only two-way street in the old San Juan. Everything else is a one-way road. Okay? And you're going to be able to see here to the right-hand side what it was the main entrance to the fort. You can see the 100-feet walls, 18 feet thick in some areas, amigos. And like I was saying, going uphill now. The only two-way street in the old San Juan, and it's very narrow. Now, the island of Puerto Rico, everybody said that it was discovered by Christopher Columbus. And everybody knows that that's not true. Why? Because you can't discover something when there's people living on it. There were already people living over here when they got here, right? There were Arawaks Indians and Taino Indians. In North America, there were Native Americans. So they were here first, and they were in North America first. And I like to say that the Spaniards, they colonized the New World. And Puerto Rico, that happens in November 1493, on their second trip to the New World. Take a look over here to the right-hand side, and look how impressive it is. All by hand, my friends. There was nothing like a computer or whatever. All by hand. And now you understand why the Spanish government built the forts in the top part of the hill. From up here, they can see all the ships approaching the island, and they can attack before they get too close. Okay? Remember the wall of San Juan that I was telling you? It's this wall over here to the right-hand side that it was started to build, or started the construction of it in the year 1500. Okay? The Spanish government got here in 1493 after a couple of years fighting against the tribes living over here in the north side of the island. They took them as slaves, and they started constructions of the forts in the year 1500s, including the wall of San Juan. This community over here is the second oldest community in the island of Puerto Rico, and the oldest in the island of San Juan. It's known as La Perla, and to be honest, there's nothing for you down there. Okay? There's a lot of shopping, but not sightseeing. You cannot take pictures or anything. Okay? So they have their own rules down there. Now, in 1505, the Spanish government decided that they need somebody here in Puerto Rico that supervise all the constructions and supervise all the money that they were sending to the island of Puerto Rico, and of course represent the Spanish crown in the island of Puerto Rico. And that's when they decide to send to the island of Puerto Rico Juan Ponce de Leon as the first Puerto Rican governor appointed by Spain to the island in 1505. I'm pretty sure you heard that name before. Juan Ponce de Leon later went to Florida in an expedition trip, and he was looking for the Fountain of Youth. He never found it. It's not in Florida. It's in Puerto Rico. Okay? Yeah? And it's known as the Bacardi Rum Distillery now. Okay? Just to let you know, there's 8 rum distilleries and 10 micro distilleries and 8 local beers in the island. Okay? Now, during Juan Ponce de Leon expedition, everything over here was under construction, amigos. But during the between the 1590 and 1610, most of the Indians start dying. And they were dying because they were forced to work in the forts as slaves. They were not eating a lot because there were not too many supplies in the island of Puerto Rico. And they were getting sick with all the diseases and all the infirmities that they were introduced to the New World by the Spaniards. And that's when they decide to introduce to the island Africans to work in the forts as slaves. Okay? Now, here towards the left-hand side, we have the 500-year anniversary plaza. This plaza was inaugurated in 1993 to celebrate the 500 years of the island of Puerto Rico. The big totem pole here to the left has something sticking out of it, and those are Indian handcraft that they found when they were digging the plaza. And after all the archaeological work, they put it there to honor the Taino Indians, that they were the native to the island of Puerto Rico. We're gonna look for a spot over here in this parking, and it's gonna be right in front of the oldest cemetery of the island of Puerto Rico. Here towards the right hand side, we have the Santa Maria Magdalena de Pazzi Cemetery, inaugurated in 1849, and right now it's used only for important persons that have done something big for the island of Puerto Rico. Okay? Now, going back to the history of the island, because here to the left we're going to be able to see the San Felipe del Morro, which is the fort that you're going to be able to see in every advertisement and every picture, but it's not the biggest one in the island. The other one, the one that we just passed, the San Cristobal, it's 10 times bigger than that one. Okay? Now,